Jones already has matched last year's Eskimo win total, looking to go 5-0 for only the 5th time in Edmonton Eskimo history. John Huffnagel's Stampeders off to their best start since 2000 and have won 8 straight against Edmonton, 7 in a row here at Commonwealth. I like the way Matt Dunnigan put it. Perfect storm. Here we go. Granshaw's kickoff, fielded by Jock Sanders, and Sanders with a return up over the 40-yard line to set things up. 28-yard return to give Bo Mitchell decent field position on the opening Calgary possession.
Completing 62% of his passes, has not thrown an interception in 3 games. More on Bo Levi Mitchell as this game goes on. There's Matt Walter, their starting tailback in the backfield, and the go-to receiver, a big play, explosive player, is Jeff Fuller on the outside of Texas A&M. Look for him to be the primary target offensively.
Our starters to watch are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. First down for Calgary. The throw to the wide side is incomplete, intended for Jeff Fuller. And it's Joe Burnett on that field corner for the Eskimos.
This Eskimo defense has taken the ball away offensively, and the reason for that is the pressure up front. There's one change in the lineup. Willie Jefferson will play in there for Marcus Howard, who has a broken thumb. He starts a defensive end. Odell Willis has 4 sacks, but the big story has been Elmondo Sewell leading the CFL with 5 quarterback sacks, an interior defensive lineman.
Mitchell with just 201 yards passing last week against Hamilton. Looks at 2nd and 10. Over the middle in the pass behind the intended target. Marquay McDaniel, a 2-0 to start for the Stamps.
I agree with you, Chris, on what Matty and the guys were saying back in the control room about the intensity in this football game. I mean, it's been a while since these two teams have been in this position in the standings and faced each other, where this rivalry really means something, and you could feel it over the last 48 hours in this city. This is going to be a strap them up and make sure your chin strap is buckled.
Rob Neighbors punt. The Jamal Miles misplayed it, and ball still bouncing around there, and it looks like Rob Cote has got it for Calgary. I wonder if Miles lost it in the sun. He misplays it, to be sure. And the President's Ring Trophy winner for Calgary, Rob Cote, comes up with the football.
Well, I think it's nice of you to give him an alibi, Chris.
There's no sun there.
He's in the shade in that corner, and that's just poorly played. It bounces off his shoulder pads. First turnover of the game, and it's that sudden change. Can Calgary take advantage of it?
So the ball's on the Edmonton 27. Receiver set. And Jeff Fuller's ahead of the snap offside.
Not necessarily a turnover, first mistake of the game for the Edmonton Eskimos, and these guys trying to calm their nerves a little bit, both in the return game for Edmonton.
Offside. Calgary, number 31. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And that offensive play where 3 or 4 receivers were way offside, didn't get the snap count correctly, so that shows you a little how intense both of these teams are. You got to just calm down, settle down, and play ball.
So first and 15. And they try to get it to Lewis, batted down and nearly picked off. That's Willie Jefferson replacing the injured Marcus Howard, and he had a monster second half last week. Ended up with 6 tackles and a pair of sacks.
Yeah, a pair of sacks. He's got that long arm, long reach, and he gets his hands up there, knocks it up in the air, and would have intercepted if not for the smart play by Bo Levi Mitchell, knocked it out of his hands. Odell Willis, his partner, had one last week.
And took it in for a touchdown. They'll screen it. Here's Walter trying to spin off, and he is brought down quickly. Eddie Steele with the sure tackle, so the Eskimos defense comes up with a stop after the turnover.
Let's show you a little bit of the physical football you're going to see all night long here in Edmonton in this Battle of Alberta. Watch Rennie Kern come up on this screen play. Matt Walter tries to spin out of the run. and Curran's closing quickly. Here he comes, and pop right there. It's going to be gang tackling, and the pads will be popping tonight.
Special team player of the year last year, Rennie Paredes, who has missed in each of the last 2 weeks. Hits from 36, so they get 3 off that turnover. And when we come back, Mike Riley and the Edmonton Eskimo offense will get its first possession in this latest installment of the Battle of Alberta. So Mike Riley gets set to go to work, 4-0 this year. He's won 5 consecutive starts, and he led the Canadian Football League last week in rushing with 96 yards in the win over Winnipeg. Starting at the 35-yard line, into the hands of Adarius Bowman and wrestled down in a hurry.
Mike Riley's gotten a groove with Adarius Bowman, completing over 65% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 4 of which have gone to Bowman, who has been his #1 receiver. 23 catches for Bowman in that slot back. There's John White, starting tailback in 2 games, 99 yards, 92 yards last week versus Winnipeg. Outstanding blocker in the passing game.
Quick close by the safety. Josh Bell holds the gain to 5, 2nd and 5. Riley throws. It's complete over the middle. There's John White getting away. And White outrunning the secondary down to the 32-yard line. 41-yard pickup for the running back, John White. Well, check that Kendall Lawrence with the catch.
Yeah, he
wrinkle.
Yeah, he got out of the backfield. They played both because John White was back there protecting as well, and then he's going to release out the right side, and he goes back to the opposite side in the slot on that little dig route over the middle to Lawrence.
So the first play for Lawrence is a big one. Now the ride and aside to White, not much there as he is dropped. We'll set that impressive Stampeder defense for you.
As we said in the pregame show, the one guy that knows about this rivalry is Dewan Simpson. He's in his 7th season. Good start to the campaign for him. Couple of sacks. Deron Mayo draws back into the lineup, missed last week due to injury. And how about Charleston Hughes? 3 forced fumbles already, which leads the Canadian Football League. He's got that great club move when he's going after quarterbacks. He's also got 3 sacks on the season so far.
Loss of 1 for White, who's been over 90 yards in each of his last 2 starts. Stamps in motion to the short side of the field. Riley will dump it off. This is A.J. Guyton, 3rd in the league in receiving, and he'll be stopped short of the first down by Fred Bennett.
Good opening drive, though, for the Edmonton Eskimos. Opening drives have not been kind to them so far this year. They're 4-0 and yet haven't put any points up in their opening drives this season. So Chris Jones got to be liking what he sees. And remember, Mike Riley a couple plays ago stood in there and took a big hit to complete that ball to Lawrence.
9 yards for Guyton. It'll be 3rd and 2, and Branshaw and the field goal unit comes on.
And that's that Calgary field goal after the turnover.
From 31 yards out. Unless Chris Jones has something up his sleeve. But the game is tied as the Eskimos answer the early field goal for Calgary. It'll be Bo Levi Mitchell at the controls when we come back to Commonwealth.
You'd like to be part of the special game experience.
Unbeaten as a starter in the Canadian Football League and trying to get a piece of history along with a former Calgary Stampeder great.
Jeff Garcia won his first starts, 7 straight. Bo Levi Mitchell can match that number, and he's good friends with Jeff Garcia. Worked with him in the offseason.
Yeah, an interesting story how Garcia has become a mentor. Sanders behind the wedge, and Nate Kuhorn there to wrap him up and take him down just across the 35-yard line.
Boy, impressive guy out of Katy, Texas. Bo Levi Mitchell, had a good conversation with him yesterday. You know, and he knows about that number and a good start. the team around him is what's important. And remember, this is a team that's been built on the run first with John Cornish, the reigning MOP, who they don't have in the lineup and won't for the next 6 games. Now, they can pull him off early if he's ready. Still suffering some concussion symptoms, so and be cautious with him, and it'll be Matt Walter. Ole Levi Mitchell may have to put it in the air a little bit more over the next 6 weeks.
Pierre Lavertu in on the offensive line as they hand it off straight ahead, and there is Matt Walter taking his spot. Had a chat with him today, and he's anxious to get John Cornish back, but wants to make the most of this opportunity as well. Says he's learned an awful lot in the last couple of years as Cornish's understudy.
Yeah, he's really just in his 3rd year in the Canadian Football League, so that's really accelerated learning curve for Matt Walter. But everything that he's asked to do, he goes out and does. I've been real impressed with him. 134 yards rushing in a couple of starts since Cornish has been out.
5 for Walter. 2nd and 5. Sanders into the game. Straight ahead, and he'll come up just short of the first down. Stopped at the 45-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd and at least a yard as John Hufnagel surveys from the sidelines.
Interesting, because in the conversation we had with Mitchell yesterday, we said, you know, Matt Walters confident in Matt for sure, but he's not John Cornish. And when we have John Cornish back there on those 2nd down and 5 to 8 yards, we can hand it to him and be real confident that he'll go and get that first down, and that may change.
Speaking of confidence, Miles back, and now they're going to fake it instead, and a flag comes down as they get close to the first down with Rob Cote. Let's sort out the flag and exactly where they're going to spot. It's holding against Calgary anyway. But we want to see the spot because make sure that might not be a turnover on downs. Kim Murphy in charge. I'm not sure he got the first down. Didn't get a great spot, and the measurement may indicate that they are short.
Absolutely. There's a whole lot of field position on the line right now on this spot of the football.
I thought he had got a little deeper with the carry, Cote, but
no, he's
not
short.
A great spot. He's definitely short. So they'll decline the penalty, and will John Hufnagel.
Calgary. That penalty is declined. Yards are not gained. First down.
Will John Hufnagel challenge the spot? He's already reaching for the flag.
He's reaching for it now. I thought initially he was well past the 46-yard line.
He's on the 47, which is where he had to get to.
And there goes the challenge flag from
comes
John
down.
Hufnagel.
These challenges not usually successful. This is going to be the exception.
Yeah, it will be. It's a very different scenario on a fake in the kicking game or a 3rd down quarterback sneak in a pile of offensive and defensive linemen. Starts on the 45. That's where the line of scrimmage, just
Calgary
in front of it, 46.
On the field of a 3rd down spot.
You see the spot. He got to the 47 and a half. Of course, then if it's overturned, the Edmonton Eskimos take the penalty. They'll force Calgary to then punt the football. But there's field position on the line here.
40, 50 yards of field position at stake.
This coach's challenge is brought to you by Medical Imaging Consultants, official supplier of MRI and medical imaging to your Edmonton Eskimos. At MIC, they understand the importance of a timely, accurate review. The next day MRI appointments available. Go to the Pro School for a clinic.
Well, you can maybe not the 47 and a half, but certainly the 47.
Chains of move, which is
go back.
Complicates matters a little bit.
Yeah, let's go back one more time, though, Chris. I want to take a look at Cote's knee and where his knee touches. You know, looking at the body and the forward progress after this initial contact, and he dives forward. That contact sort of turns him. The knee, first knee where he's down by contact, well, it's not going to be his knee. It's going to be his backside. And that's right there, his elbow. And, you know, tough to get complete perspective, but I just, you know, it looked like it was beyond the 46-yard line for sure. How far beyond is the question.
After review, the player did gain the yardage for a first down. We will apply a 10-yard penalty from the 44.5-yard line, back 10. It'll be third down repeated.
So a winning challenge for John Hufnagel.
Well, he just won a lot of real estate. Yep. It was a great challenge. These two defenses and the way these two teams have been playing, that 40 yards could become huge. Now, Miles may change that in a heartbeat.
But Miles has to work out or at least forget the fumble on the last punt.
Exercise the demons there and just be confident, get underneath it.
Rob Maver has Miles backpedaling to the 20. First man misses, but he'll be wrapped up. Keenan McDougall down in a hurry.
Number 3, Jamal Miles.
And Mike Riley and the Eskimos offense comes out just inside their 25-yard line. Well, we've just seen Matt Walter head to the dressing room after that hit, and
a couple of big hits actually from Rennie Kerr and Chris, and there's a second one again. And after that second one came off and looked a little bit dizzy, he was taken to the locker room for further observation.
So first Cornish, and now Matt Walter may be unavailable for the rest of the night. That pass almost picked. Jawan Simpson read the mail and almost came up with the interception.
Oh boy, Jawan Simpson's going to drop right underneath this, and Mike Riley never sees him. Perfect drop underneath the inside route. He looks it up and then breaks on the football. All he had to do was catch it, and it's one-on-one with him and Riley to see if he scores.
Well, you thought he would set a tone here tonight. Nearly did with that play, 2nd and 10. To this near side, Shamon Chambers. Lynn J. Shell is there, but good second effort by Chambers to move the chains up at the 35.
Good start to the season for Shamon Chambers. Got 12 catches, over 100 yards. Often playing that wide side, and when they get him in the bunch formation, they can move him inside, get him a little closer, and he just will die outside in the flat, in the soft spot of the zone that Calgary's running, and then picks it up on his own. Good second effort to dive for that marker.
Third-year man within 6 yards of 1,000 in his career. The second 1,000 yards receiving will come a lot quicker for Shamon Chambers. 12 on that catch, a first down. And Riley going to go deep, looking for Stamps. And Stamps can't bring it in. Looked like he had a half step in behind coverage.
Boy, he got rocked last week in the Winnipeg game and got back up. Went to the hospital for observation after the game in Winnipeg and was back to work this week. Really didn't miss many reps and almost makes the one-hander. Good coverage over the top by Jamar Wall. We'll watch this matchup all night long.
Like he tried to one-hand that. Slowest start in his career with just 10 catches. Last year, 12 catches after the first 4 weeks, but he had 3 touchdowns and a couple of 100-yard games. Pressure from Hughes, and Lawrence is contained there. There's Brandon Smith, the other veteran DB, so both inside halfbacks make plays on that last series.
Well, I tell you what, these defenses, we talked about it in the pregame show, how good these defenses have been playing this year. And Calgary Stampeders, and both you and I, Chris, took a double take on touchdowns they've allowed. In fact, in the passing game, there's been none in 3 games, and only 1 touchdown allowed in the running game, and that was when the game was already settled in week 1, when it was the last play of the game in garbage time. So these 2 defenses have been the story. They're playing well again.
Pressure, McDougall, the block, scoop, score, touchdown, Keenan McDougall.
Grant Shaw is blocked and taken into the end zone by number 24, Keenan McDougall, for a touchdown.
The University of Saskatchewan product with an early big play on special teams for the Stampeders.
Well, it just looked like a fast break here. They were just bringing the house. Everybody rushing, no one blocking for a return on this play, and the Calgary Stampeders had about 7 guys in the backfield. Keenan McDougall gets there, scoops it up, and there's your first major. It comes on the teams.
Might be that kind of night.
Yeah.
Young guy who missed his senior year at the University of Saskatchewan with an injury and just made his biggest play in the Canadian Football League as the Stampeders claim the lead.
Keenan McDougall right here, and Corbin Sharoon, the personal protector. He makes a mistake by staying too wide along Rennie Curran. Hold it right there, guys. Now watch, he's got to step in here and then block out on McDougall, not stay outside and try and reach inside and cut him off. McDougall shoots the gap and is right there to block it. Scoops it up and scores the first major of this football game. That's just a mistake. And that personal protector, Corbin Sharoon.
So they fumbled on a punt return and now had a punt block, so it's been a tough start on special teams, and 10 points off turnovers for Calgary. The game didn't have any points off turnovers in the first 3 weeks for the Stampeders. Rennie Paredes to kick it off, and Miles from a couple of yards deep. Trying to get to the outside and is angled out around the 23-yard line.
Miles starts his run back 2 yards deep and he scores out of bounds.
Well, all of a sudden there's a sense of urgency for Mike Riley, and it's not even been the offense or defense's fault, really. Just the mistakes on the teams. I'm sure Craig Dickinson will try and square that away on the sideline as Mike Riley takes the offense and begins this drive in his own end.
See a threatening sky overhead. It was there was a thunderstorm warning in effect. It was lifted, but it's like in the distance we might get something. Inside handoff to John White to the 29.
Number 30, John.
And saw him that first game and highlighted him a couple of times with some just huge blocks on defensive linemen in the passing game. But talked to him yesterday about just being shy of 100 yards in both his starts this year, and he said, yeah, you know, I have no idea during the game where I am numbers wise, but it would be nice to hit that 100 mark.
Did that 14 times at Utah. He's had 99 and 92 in his 2 starts after Tyler Thomas opened the season. There's Chambers again. Can't squeeze the football on the slant in front of Fred Bennett.
It's like he didn't lock his eyes here. Shamad Chambers runs this slant route and his head's moving back and forth. If you've ever stood on a tee box and if your head and your eyes aren't focused on that ball, it's going to see how he shifts his head quickly, and that's in slow motion.
I think he saw Deron Mayo incoming.
He may have checked out where that was coming from. Yeah, that hit coming.
So Grant Shaw gets this one away. Sanders 35-yard line. And spilled across the 45 with a flag flying. It's a battle in behind with play. Mike Miller was involved along with Glenn Love. So the official spotted something in that battle. And the signal going against Calgary. Every special team matchup is going to be a battle. And Mark
Illegal
Gillum.
participation. Calgary, number 36, went out of bounds and came back in. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So Miller rode him out of bounds. Love moved back in. We asked Bo Levi Mitchell yesterday if he was surprised at his early success in the CFL.
Not surprised, because this is what I've wanted. It's what I've worked for and what I fought for. I mean, when I was coming into the league, I was telling the coaches right then I wanted to be the starter. I know it wasn't realistic because I didn't know the game, the offense and all that, but that's just the kind of guy I am, man. I want to be on the field. I want the ball in my hands. Even if I didn't know the plays, I just wanted to get out there and make plays.
And has wanted to get better with each week, and going to see Jeff Garcia in the offseason has advanced that.
Well, there was a lot of fans, I think, wondering about last week when against the Hamilton Tiger Cats scored just 10 points, and offensively it wasn't one of their best outings, but Bo didn't turn the ball over in that game, found a way to win and managed it well.
2nd and 8. Mitchell to throw, and now Flush. He'll take off and will come just short of the first down. It's a little shades of the Jeff Garcia influence, and Garcia's encouraged him to use his legs a little bit more.
Well, and they talk back and forth. They text each other often. In fact, Mitchell was saying that he gets, just before games, texts from Jeff Garcia, just little reminders like, make sure you get your legs involved early. That'll settle you. It'll also use a talent you haven't really used, which is to run the football. He runs to buy himself time early on in his career, but he hasn't run to break down the defense, and Garcia reminded him of that.
3rd 2 and out for the Stampeders. Another good boot from Maver. Miles fields that around the 15, and the covered team does the job, getting down in a hurry.
Right now the Stamps are winning the teams, and that's been the difference. Boy, mentioned that game for the Edmonton Eskimos against Winnipeg last week, and when Fred Stamps was just rocked in that game, a little bit overthrown. Damon Washington, extra step and a half, and Stamps made his way to the sideline. John White, and I'm going to show you some examples tonight. We won't have to search for him, but watch him step up in pass protection, number 30, and he weighs 195 pounds, stands 5'8". He'll take on anybody.
Now Lawrence on the sweep. Kendall Lawrence is a speedster. And across the 50 to the 52-yard line. So maybe this is why Chris Jones closed practice for a day this week. Already a couple of big plays to Kendall Lawrence.
Not in your screen right now, but he'll work in tandem again with John White. You can see John White in the backfield.
And Pat White.
And Pat White running more of sort of a veer-type offense, an option-looking offense.
And White in again to hand it off to John White. Pat White out of West Virginia, John White from Utah. And they got the offense moving a little bit.
Well, I like this play package. I mean, Pat White comes in. You've got now 3 players involved. You've got Lawrence, you've got White, and you've got Pat White. Now, go ahead and run. This is 2 plays ago. There's the fake underneath. Now, hold it. As he gets outside, he's got that option. That's one. There's 2 other options to the backside for Pat White and John White to run the ball the opposite direction. I love the play package.
2nd and 4, handoff inside, and that will move the chains once again. 147 and 192 yards rushing in the last 2 weeks for a much improved Edmonton running game.
Mention that close practice, and I know there's some people a little bit up in arms. I don't think there's anything wrong with 1 practice a week being closed. Allow the coaching staffs to put in maybe some trick plays, some games on. We've already seen a fake punt. The Calgary Stampeders didn't work, but that's when you want to do that in those closed practices.
Emphasis on defense coming into the game. The Edmonton Eskimos have had the better defense, but the Calgary Stampeders lead because of special teams.
Yeah, we talked about both defenses. You can talk about both quarterbacks, Bo Levi Mitchell and Mike Riley. Calgary Stampeders can't get anything going offensively, yet they lead in the game because of 2 special team mistakes by the Edmonton Eskimos. A drop punt by Miles that turned into a field goal, and of course the block punt in the teams that was the touchdown for Keenan McDougall.
We have seen some innovative things from Edmonton. Their offense looks like it's starting to gain some traction.
Yeah, you know, Mike Riley moved the ball early in that first quarter, and then in that series where Pat White came in, I like that series. Get both running backs involved, and it's a different look for the Calgary defense. They'll have to make those adjustments on the fly as this second quarter goes on, and they're going to have to find a replacement, at least temporarily, for Fred Bennett.
So Bennett shaking it off on the sidelines, and the Eskimos on the move, and Mike Riley has come to the sidelines, and we're going to see a little bit more of Pat White and this different looking offense. White 34 and 8 at West Virginia. We're going to see the left-hander throw downfield into the end zone, and Bailey reached out, the flag flies. Brandon McDonald, the newcomer on the corner for Calgary, was in the area playing in his first game with the Stampeders.
Lots of NFL experience. In fact, 80 games of NFL experience over 6 years. Only been with Calgary for a couple of days.
Calgary, number 42. The infraction took place in goal. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
They said 42, but it looks like they are making the call on McDonald.
Clearly called him for the right arm wrapped around the waist of Devin Bailey.
And the Stampeders are not going to challenge the call. So White stays in. 1st and goal from the 1. And he'll keep, and he'll score.
It looked like he had to struggle to get the handle of the football, but once he did, that second effort got him in.
So Pat White's had an impact in the game, and they're a convert away from tying it. And a decent push from Brian Ramsey, Andrew Jones, and Simeon Rotier up front. Shaw's the extra point, and we're tied at 10. So Pat White comes in. goes deep with a pass and gets the pass interference call. He'll take it, and then he'll take it in. Well, like Rod in our pregame show, we also wanted to offer our condolences to the family of legendary sportscaster Bill Stevenson, who passed away this week at the age of 85, former voice of the BC Lions and the Toronto Argonauts. That shot with Dave Hodge in the broadcast booth of CFRB, doing Argo games back in the 60s, 15 years on the sidelines, the CFL on CTV. A legendary broadcaster, a dear friend of the Canadian Football League.
CFL Hall of Fame in 1988, 53-year career. Thoughts and prayers are with the Stevenson family. He covered the 72 Summit Series.
Brilliant career. And there's Pat White, who has tied this game. And Bo Levi Mitchell got off to a slow start last week. They had just 2 first downs in their first 5 possessions last week, and an even slower start here against a very stingy, hostile Edmonton Eskimo defense.
And that front 4 is at it again for Edmonton.
And now they've got to deal with the noise. Sanders, the running back, in place of the injured Matt Walters. And a plunge up to the 24-yard line.
Well, because of the injury to Matt Walter, now John Hufnagel is going to have to juggle the Canadian ratio. You're going to have to see Rob Cote out there, or you'll see Brad Sinopoli. Dave Dickens is going to have to juggle that if they're playing Jock Saunders in it at tailback, that they're going to have to play a Canadian receiver or the fullback Rob Cote.
Cote's in right now. Stays in the block. Mitchell can't find anybody. The first read now gets it away, incomplete. Joe West, the target. Joe Burnett, the breakup.
It was a controlled pass rush from the Edmonton defensive front 4. They basically were trying to sniff out any type of screen and took their time getting there. It looked like Mitchell has time to throw, just doesn't have an open receiver coming across the middle. Has to try and check it down, and Joe Burnett's right there.
From Maver, a line drive kick, and Miles from his 34 gets a block up the middle, and at the 50-yard line, tackled by former Eskimo Tim St. Pierre. Eskimos defense has flexed its muscles tonight. Charleston Hughes, always a force. He'll lead the Calgary defense out when we return. A couple former teammates in the spotlight tonight with more on the sidelines. Here's Darcy Seaton.
Thanks, guys. Yes, opposing defensive linemen Armando Sewell and Sean Lemon go way back. In fact, they're best friends going back to their college days in Akron when they were roommates. So you can imagine there was a lot of trash talk heading into this big matchup. Sewell says that Lemon's texts were references to the Stamps' impressive record over the Eskimos during these last 2 seasons. You guys talked about it earlier in the show. And Sewell's response, not this year.
John Lemon, an Edmonton Eskimo back in 2012. Riley on a roll. Flag comes down. Stamps is open at the 25. Cuts it back. Fred Stamps will reach the end zone. Will it stand with a flag down? It's coming back.
It is in the holding area. And Mike Riley is walking back to the his own 50-yard line.
Negates a 59-yard touchdown, which would have been Stamps' second of the season.
Interested to see if this is on number 66, Matt O'Donnell, who pulled on the play and got in front of Sean Lemon.
Holding, Edmonton number 58. Illegal participation, Calgary number 11. Offsetting infractions, replay first down.
So Tony Washington, the left tackle, former Stampeder, called on the hold, but the safety Josh Bell also flagged. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 51.
Well, and it works out for the Calgary Stampeders, takes a touchdown off. You're going to see Tony Washington, the tackle out here, and watch how he's going to get hooked up with linebacker Juwan Simpson, twist from the behind, grab the jersey in the back, and twist him down.
Short drop, Chambers the catch, over the middle, wrestled down as Fred Bennett back in the game. Good first down production, 8 yards for Chambers.
The only reason I point out just the one penalty and not Calgary's is simply because it took a touchdown off the board, and the offsetting penalties for the Edmonton Eskimos, and also maybe a play that got Fred Stamp's game kick-started.
Haven't really been able to get him going yet. Just one big pass play on the season of 30 yards or more. That would have been his biggest of the season. 2nd and short. And it's Bowman, the catch, and the first down. And when the super slots are catching the football, the Edmonton Eskimos are dangerous. Bowman and Stamps.
4 touchdowns on the season for Darius Bowman. 23 catches. He leads the league in the big plays, 30-plus receptions. There's his 4 touchdowns and that leaderboard.
It's a 2nd down conversion catch. He now leads the league in that department.
Absolutely.
2nd in catches, 2nd in yards coming into week number 5. They take the shovel and then pass to Lawrence that is incomplete.
Yeah, it'll be incomplete. Even if it's an underhand pass, as long as it's forward, it's incomplete pass. Like Lawrence took a peek where he's going to run.
Not sure we've seen Darius Bowman on a sweep before. They fake it to Bowman, and there's the incomplete pass.
Running backs will often try and take a peek just as they're trying to catch the ball so they can turn the corner as quickly as they can, and that caught Lawrence that time.
So it's 2nd and 10. And the Eskimos are going to call timeout.
Timeout, Edmonton.
And while they confirm, we'll remind you, CFL on TSN continues tomorrow. Wendy's Friday Night Football. Live coverage, Blue Bombers Lions, begins 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, right here on TSN. Live streaming also available at tsn.ca and TSN Go. McMoore against his old team.
See, Lions also all of a sudden turn things around with a couple wins in a row. That board we just showed you on Darius Bowman had Manny Arsenault on it as well, with 3 touchdowns last week for the BC Lions.
2nd straight battle of the unbeatens for Edmonton, who went into Winnipeg and kept their record unblemished, handing the Bombers their first loss. And after the conference on the sidelines, it's 2nd and 10. Riley has time underneath A.J. Guyton, and he is flattened as Fred Bennett closed quickly.
Yeah, Fred Bennett had to go out for a few plays. He was just stepped on in a place that you just don't want to be stepped on. And that took him a while to work out, and now he's fine and back and comes up with a big hit. And this is exactly what Calgary wanted to do defensively. Rich Stubler called a 3-man pressure, 3-man rush, drop 9, and just force Riley to throw it underneath, make the tackle, and make him punt.
Not going to try a 50-yard field goal. They want Shaw to hit the corner. And that kick may not have reached the 20. And they're going to mark it at the 21, which is an illegal kick, and Grant Shaw doesn't agree with it. It means just a 22-yard punt. And you can see Shaw's reaction. He disagrees with the spot.
Well, it's so close, and it's a judgment call because the ball goes out of bounds.
Illegal punt out of bounds. Edmonton number 11. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Goes out of bounds about 30 yards in the air, so they're making a guess there.
So the game tied, Calgary football. When we come back to Commonwealth. Our sack tallies brought to you by Purelator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. These two teams have combined for 28, but none tonight.
None tonight, but sacks in general are up, so those numbers and the amount of food that we're collecting is going to go up as well. In 2012, there was 4.3 sacks per game at this point. Last year, 5.5. This year, 6.4.
Here's Jock Sanders taking the handoff. Good run off the left side as Sanders takes over the running duties. 12-yard pickup with the early exit from Matt Walter tonight.
Saskatchewan last couple of years, and Jock Sanders is going to get a chance to see the football in the field a ton tonight. Been playing on the teams primarily for the Calgary Stampeders this year. Matt Walter stepping in for John Cornish. Walter has not returned.
Pat Watkins the tackle. That's the initial first down 20 minutes into the game. And now they'll swing it out, and it's Simon Charbonneau-Campo with the catch up across the 50, and he has 7 yards and his second catch of the year.
And little substitution from Dave Dickinson as he goes to some different formations here to try and give the Edmonton defense some different looks, see if he can start to generate some first downs. Now he goes with Rob Cote as a tight end with Jock Sanders behind him.
2nd and 3. Sanders again. And he is stopped up. Looks like maybe a half-yard short. Well, we'll see. As they unpile where the spot is. At the 48. They're going to measure.
And this one's close enough to measure.
Based on all the talk of defenses, you know, Dave Dickinson and the offensive sides of the football have been working a little extra, burning the midnight oil this week, getting ready.
And here comes the big boys, the elephant team. A lot of different terminology. Just pick a huge animal, and on short yardage, that's what you call this team. Like the hippo team, or the elephant team, or the hog team, or
Jumbo's used.
jumbo team, yeah.
Drew Tink's offense. And he'll duck down and move the chains.
Penalty flag there late, too. Often this is the defense jumping, but
he ducked under the block of Brander Craighead, who's grading out very well at left guard in his first year for John Hufnagel.
Offside, Edmonton. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Stampeders pick up the first down.
So when they don't give a number, it's likely
probably the entire line, but first down for Bo Levi Mitchell, who's finally got something going offensively. This is pretty much what we all predicted in this game. Two unbeaten teams, tied heading into the half so far.
And special teams have helped contribute to the point total. There's Mitchell unloading downfield, and this one is almost intercepted. Aaron Grimes, and flags fly there as Grimes played receiver and Joe West played defender.
Maybe offensive pass interference against Joe West.
Looked like Grimes had the best shot at the football. Already 2 interceptions on the year, and also a flag in the Calgary backfield.
He certainly had a better shot at it. Grimes was trying to run under it, and Joe Smith turned into defensive back and was just looking to disrupt
Calgary
it.
number 65. That penalty is accepted. Forward pass interference on the offense. That penalty is declined. Be back 10 yards, repeat first down.
Dan Faderkyle, the right tackle, the Medicine Hat product call.
Both players have a right to the football, and Joe West gets up in the face before the ball arrives, and that will be offensive pass interference. Can almost call that screening as well, as he put his hand over his face mask. A high hit as well. But they'll take the holding, the 10-yard penalty. Put Bo Levi Mitchell in a hole.
First and 20 back at the Calgary 48. 5 receivers. Now Sanders releases. Mitchell's got to go through his reads with Sewell in pursuit. Another flag down, and Mitchell steps out around midfield. They'll mark him out at the Calgary 54.
Odell Willis is face-to-face with Dan Faderkyle.
And another penalty against Calgary.
Willis is off to a good start of the season, real good. As a matter of fact, he's been quiet.
Holding Calgary number 65. 10-yard penalty remains first down.
Back-to-back on Faderkyle, trying to deal with Odell Willis.
Well, Willis beats a down block by a receiver first off. Then he gets locked up on Faderkyle, and Faderkyle on the shoulder pad. Just you can see him pull him down to the ground. Willis puts his hands up and, yeah, gets the call.
See what Dave Dickinson has on 1st and 30. Blitz is swung out here, and Markway McDaniel's cut down. Aaron Grimes. And another loss. Stampeders offense going in reverse. Loss of 4 after the back-to-back holding penalties.
Aaron Grimes is allowed to get real aggressive here on this tackle because of the inside pursuit from Odell Willis. Watch how he comes inside out. Grimes sees that. He knows he's got Markway McDaniel all tied up in there. There's no cutback lane, so he can just cut the legs out from underneath him.
So the ball inside the Calgary 35. They have to get to the Edmonton 41 to get a first down. Here's Sinopoli with the catch. Bill Burnett takes him down immediately.
That's damage control offensively. Not looking to move the chains on second and half the province of Alberta. You just basically throw it underneath, get your punt team out there, regroup on the sideline, and leave it in the hands of your defense if you're Calgary.
So Maver to punt to Miles. This kick not as deep, but does get a good Calgary bounce. And so Maver with a little top spin, able to produce a 45-yard punt.
I think there was more wind than it feels like in the building here, and it is getting stronger as you see some of those dark clouds coming in too. They did predict that there would be some rain here this evening. Haven't had any yet, but the wind is picking up. Looked like that ball died up there on that punt.
Yeah, he was punting against the wind, but again, the good bounce. Better field position than Calgary might have anticipated. Edmonton takes over at their own 30. Eskimos' average start this year's the 41, which is the second best field position in the league through week 4. 3-yard pickup there, which is a sign that the defense has been setting things up well for Mike Riley.
Yeah, setting things up well, giving him often half the field to work with. Again, what we predicted a little bit, you take a look at these two defenses coming into this game. In fact, you could probably say that about the entire league so far in 2014.
2nd and 7. And Riley downfield, intercepted. Fred Bennett's got it. The Calgary takeaway as Fred Bennett is dropped at the Edmonton 45-yard line. It's the second interception of the season for Bennett.
Pressure forces Mike Riley into a throw that I know he wants back because he saw man-to-man. What he didn't see is Fred Bennett was going to fall off of his man and help out his teammates. See, there's a little pressure off the edge for Riley, so he gets this ball out of there. And Fred Bennett had dropped his guy. Watch how Bennett's got his guy. I believe it's Shamad Chambers, the short side wide receiver now. He just lets his guy run the curl, falls underneath that corner route, textbook.
Bennett, third-year man who won the job in his first training camp with a 2-interception preseason game against Edmonton and 1 call back. He only had 3 on the first night he played on a Canadian Football League field against Edmonton. Big one here to give Calgary some momentum.
Third takeaway for Calgary. This is the Edmonton Eskimos that coming in were a +10. First in the league in the giveaway takeaway categories. They had generated 15 takeaways, and right now they're -3.
And that means the Stampeders are up to a +7 on the year. 2nd and 5. Cote in the backfield. He releases. Mitchell steps up. He'll attack the line of scrimmage and reach for the first down. Dexter McCoyle was there. And again, back to our conversation yesterday. Bull Levi Mitchell talking about the influences of Jeff Garcia, who has encouraged him to attack that line a little bit more and take off with the football, a la Jeff Garcia.
Well, what it can do is slow the pass rush. The defensive line start trying to control their rush a little bit more rather than go with reckless abandon. Once the quarterback takes off a couple times, you want to make sure you're in your gaps.
First and 10 from the 33. They'll swing it up and knock down, and Aaron Grimes, or Chuck, that it is Aaron Grimes with the knockdown.
He just read it. He just, this is film work. This is Aaron Grimes studying it up and jumping this route. I thought he was taking this baby to the house. He saw the bubble screen, and watch him shoot the gap.
Let's make some noise for their defense now.
He just now has to time it up. Makes a nice reaction there, and I thought he was going to take that one and go.
2nd and 10 as we approach the 3-minute warning. Pressure on, and Levi Mitchell gets it away. And underneath, Eric Samuels with a quick close on Brad Sinopoli. Orlando Sewell, how about that strength, but unable to come up with a sack. Fighting off the block, getting to the quarterback as we hit the 3-minute warning, but Bull Levi Mitchell able to escape to make the throw.
Well, he doesn't get the sack, but we have to go back and show you Armando Sewell against Brett Jones last year, outstanding rookie, and this is a bull rush at its best, folks. Jones is hanging on as the Bull just drives him back into Bull Levi Mitchell. Wow.
That's why Sewell's got 5 sacks already. There's Paredes with the field goal from 36 yards out, and the Stampeders have the lead with just under 3 minutes to go. EMC live at the half coming up. Rod Jock, Matt, and Schultze will offer their opinions on what they've seen in this first half dominated by defense and special teams.
Well, that was fun, just that one play, and Brett Jones hung on there. Well, that's one of the reasons that this game is outstanding. The game's inside the game that's going on. Sewell's off to such a great start of the season. He may set the record set by an interior defensive lineman. That was Eric England back in 03. Had 14 sacks from the interior of the defensive line. 5 sacks for a defensive tackle. 5 sacks in a season is a great year. He's got 5 sacks in 4 games, and look at this bull rush. I mean, Chris Schultz right now is probably getting in his stance trying to hang on. Man, how do you handle a guy that gets that low center of gravity that is that big and strong at 6'4", 290?
Why, he was number 31 on our top 50 list. He didn't even have training camp. Was injured the first day of training camp and missed almost all of camp. But he checked in for duty in week 1 and has been dominating ever since. Here comes Jamal Miles, and he is taken down quickly. Good cover by Glenn Love.
Jamal Miles on the return. He's taken down at the 21-yard line by number 36, Glenn Love.
So a 3-point Calgary lead.
You know, both defenses played great in this first half. Both offenses sort of spurts here and there, but Calgary has won the teams. And the first half in the 3 phases, you could saw off offense, defense, and Calgary's got the edge in teams.
Eskimos could have taken the ball at the 35. accepted the kickoff and have to start at the 21. Here's Riley, wide side. Kuhorn, Alberta product with the catch. And here's pretty good contact there against McDonald, the newcomer on the corner. Brandon McDonald meeting up with Nate Kuhorn.
See you, Nate. See you, Nate. There you go. Drop that shoulder right along the rail. It's the Battle of Alberta.
Alberta Crunch right there. McDonald in the Lions camp and training camp. And a late pickup here with Buddy Jackson hurt. We asked John Hufnagel what we knew about him, and what he knew about him. He said, well, I've met him because he hasn't been around very long.
Vertical, vertical.
Callum McCarty, second and short. He'll step out, first down for the Eskimos. Edmonton down by 3, but we've seen a little bit more from their offense in this first 30 minutes.
Yeah, some spurts. You know, I mean, you've seen a couple of drives, some that have stalled, different formations where Pat White has come in, worked with Kendall Lawrence and John White. Deep ball to Fred Stamps for a touchdown that was called back on a holding.
Difference here, though, 13 points for Calgary off turnovers in this opening half. First down, Riley time. Bowman the catch, and a beauty over the middle. Down to the Calgary 48 with Keenan McDougall all over him.
Great confidence. Leads the league in the big plays. Catches over 30 yards, had 4 coming in. Goes up, fights off the defender, knows the safety's inside. Great confidence to make that catch, and Mike Riley put it on him.
Excuse me, Brandon Smith there defensively, but Darius Bowman makes a contested catch, and the Eskimos now are threatening with just over 2 minutes left in this first half. And here's Kendall Lawrence on the direct snap. A little misdirection, change of direction, but not going to fool Brandon Smith.
And the Oscar goes to.
Yes. There are a few guys acting out there.
Number 13, Mike Riley.
Well, I saw Chambers confused, allegedly,
for his supporting role in the trickery and the trick play for the Edmonton Eskimos as he goes, oh, call a timeout, coach. What? Oh, we're going to snap it.
Lawrence ran a long way for 4. 2nd and 6. Sideline pattern. And another catch by Chambers in front of Bennett. And another first down.
You know, this seems like routine, but the timing is bang on. The route running is perfect because it takes the defender 1 yard past the first down marker. And when Chambers comes back to the ball, he's right at the first down marker. That was perfect timing.
Spent some time in the offseason. Mike Riley talked about the increased chemistry he has with Shamad Chambers.
Let's take another look at the Oscar goes to Mike Riley. Chambers is doing the same thing. Bottom of your screen. So what are we doing, guys?
Bowman.
And then they hook up for the first down on the next play. So I don't know who had the lead role there or the supporting actor, but that was a great throw on that quick out. I know it should be a routine play, but to get the timing down like that, you know you're gaining some chemistry with your receiving core, and it looks like Shamad Chambers, he stays healthy, could be in for a big year.
Riley at 75% and 152 on the night as Brandon Smith is being looked at and getting help to the sidelines. That would be a key blow for Calgary. Smith, 7-year veteran, will have to be out for at least 3 plays. So Adam Berger comes in at safety. Josh Bell will move over to the defensive halfback spot vacated by Smith.
So they send Fred Stamps and Darius Bowman right down the seams and test this safety.
Pump. And now Riley will step up. And it goes down in a hurry and a feet first slide for Mike Riley.
Well, they tried it. The pressure is going to get to Riley, make him run, but the Calgary Stampeders to try and defend this change that they've just made. They moved Berger out of the safety spot and rotate back into the middle from Josh Bell. So he goes back to the normal safety. But you can see Edmonton did try to run the seams and test him if they were going to leave the newcomer back there by himself.
4 for Riley, 2nd and 6, trying to keep the drive going. And the pass for Stamps into the corner is a stride or two too far. So the drive stalls with just over a minute to go. And Grant Shaw comes on.
Yeah, Mike Riley again had to get rid of it. I mean, we haven't talked much about Charleston Hughes yet, but he's just getting warmed up. It's a little push in the back of Riley, comes around the corner. He has a guy in his face on the other end, and Sean Lemon.
So Shaw from 40, 2 for 2 from beyond the 40 so far this year. And Grant Shaw puts it through to tie the game.
Grant Shaw from 40 yards, and that field goal is good. And it's another Eskimo football.
You've got questions? Discovery Science is the channel that has answers. Free preview is on now. Check your local TV listings. Battle of Alberta's back. Most anticipated matchup between John Hufnagel's Stampeders and the rivals from up north in 3 or 4 years, you would think.
Well, one of the two teams in the rivalry just haven't been good enough to make it that intense Battle of Alberta that we're used to in the good old days. But it's back now, baby.
Here's the handoff to Sanders, and he finds a crease across the 50 and into the secondary just across midfield, and that's a 20-yard run for Jock Sanders.
The reasons Calgary is confident, even though they've lost their MOP and John Cornish for the next 6 weeks, is that they like what they're doing up front. They love this offensive line. It's just getting better every game, and they feel like they can open holes for whoever may be back there.
7 carries, 50 yards for Sanders. Another pass batted down. That's 3 in this opening half.
There's a guy that you don't expect to be on the blitz. It's Patrick Watkins is the corner, and what they'll do is they move Willie Jefferson inside. There's Jefferson, and here comes Pat Watkins, short side corner blitz. This is a Chris Jones special because you just don't expect a guy to come.
Has been all around the football in this first half.
He has, and I'm just seeing a little bit of impatience now from Bo Levi Mitchell, trying to force the issue a little bit. Now it's near the end of the half, so he might be just trying to make something happen. But he had Aaron Grimes over the top in pretty good position with Joe Burnett coming underneath, and you can see they both had a better shot at the football than his receiver. So
Maver to kick it away in this final minute. Miles at a 6. Boy, the Calgary cover team's done the job. That's Ben DeAguilar, the McMaster product. He's had a couple of special team tackles in this first half.
The arrow. Here's the arrow. This is your job. Block at the line of scrimmage, get down the field, make a tackle in the open field, and get it done.
And Saturday will be at his old digs at McMaster as the Ticats entertain the Ottawa Redblacks. Henry Burris goes back to Hamilton.
Sort of Hamilton. I know McMaster's in Hamilton. It's not really their... Anyway.
holds on to the football. And now throws, looking for Bowman. And he can't make the catch.
Both these,
dangerous in the last half minute, isn't it?
Absolutely. Both these quarterbacks are just trying to break this game open, make that big play. I mean, Riley buys himself some time and then wants to throw it from the far right, almost to the sideline, all the way across the field, and that spells nothing but trouble for even veteran quarterbacks when they try and get away with that. There's a lot of bodies in there.
With that said, he did get in behind Jamar Wall. Could have been a big play. Either way, 2nd and 10. They'll stay conservative here, and John White wrapped up.
They will call a timeout here.
And I believe they just have done it to get some points here.
Now the wind is at the back of the Edmonton Eskimos. Conventional wisdom says
Calgary.
At this point in the field where Edmonton is at the 6-yard line, that they would give up a safety. Now Chris Jones with 24 seconds going to try and pound this out, I'm sure. Hope he gets a big kick with the wind at the back of Grant Shaw. His cover team's down there. But any type of return at all, and you're in field goal range for Calgary.
We have seen coaches avoid this so far this year, saving that timeout for the second half in case they need a challenge. And what do we got going here? Can you believe this? Aaron Grimes, there are ways to go. And does he get it? I don't think he did. It's going to be close. What a turnover on downs, if indeed it is.
You gotta be kidding me. The fake punt from deep in your own end zone. This is why they close practice. Wow. It looked like Aaron Grimes had enough room to possibly score, but Calgary recovers quickly. Keenan McDougall there again, and they don't make it. 2 big plays on the teams by Keenan McDougall.
16 seconds left. The timeout was a good one. And so it's the 4th turnover of the half. And now they're going to challenge the spot of where Grimes got to.
Well, there's gutsy, and then there's this, which is another level of gutsy.
This is riverboat gambling, and that looks like the right spot.
Josh Bell shot through there and made it tough on Grimes and allowed Keenan McDougall to rally to it. And yeah, I think that ball touches down first, and it looks like it's shy of that 11-yard line. Let's take another look here.
16-yard line.
Excuse me, 16. Yeah, let's take another look here.
Challenging the ruling of the spot on the field on the 3rd down. We'll review the play.
I think his arm that's holding the ball is the first to touch.
And pretty clear that he landed right on that strike.
That was... Now, again, there has to be evidence to overturn the call, and the call on the field is that it's Calgary's football and that the yardage was not gained.
Needed to get to the 17, it looked like. But it looks like he comes down right on the 16-yard strike.
Stop it there. I think he's just inside of it.
And we're just clarifying, he just has to get beyond the 16.
The ruling on the field has been confirmed by replay. Yards were not gained.
But they did have
Calgary.
The spot accurately placed right there, short.
There.
All right, let's hear it for your
There's the football. And that's short of that 16-yard line. Good eye by the officials.
Well, if they punted it away, Calgary would have needed a play or two to get into field goal range. Now they've got a chance to go for more. Mitchell going to take a shot for Jeff Fuller. Touchdown! Fuller with the touchdown and a costly gamble. Has cost Chris Jones.
Boy, they're great plays when they work. But against a good football team, they can backfire on you in a hurry. Keenan McDougall has been the star of this first half for the Calgary Stampeders, and good strong hands there by Fuller in the back of the end zone.
First catch for Fuller, third touchdown of the year. And all the points for Calgary in this first half off turnovers.
And it just got quiet.
The armchair quarterbacks have a lot of fodder after that last 30 seconds. Barrett has the extra point. When it looked like it was going to be tied at the half, it's suddenly a touchdown lead for the Stampeders.
3 phases. Many times have we talked about the 3 phases? Coaches will preach it all the time that, you know, we always talk about offense and defense. TV talks about offense, defense, and media often talking about the quarterbacks, but the plays in this first half for Calgary, they've won the teams, and Keenan McDougall has been the all-star in that regard. That block kick, remember, he scooped it himself, picked it up, and he was the guy who made the tackle on Aaron Grimes to hold Edmonton short on the gamble out of their own end zone that turned into the Fuller touchdown. There's your first half star.
Been a hard luck guy, played only 2 games last year because of a few injuries. Mentioned he missed his senior year at the University of Saskatchewan. But just dialing back, you know, we were a little surprised by the Mike Riley throw, and when you consider that also stopped the clock.
Yep.
And gave John Hufnagel the option of using his timeout.
It's a good point.
And it all compounds against the Eskimos in the final 30 seconds. Sometimes living on the edge, you slip over, and Edmonton did.
Well, now, based on what we just saw in that whole sequence, and here's one more look at a great touchdown throw, is Bo Levi Mitchell's going to leave it up to Fuller to win the battle, and he does that. Does Chris Jones sling one deep here, or does he go in at halftime now? He's going to go in at halftime and just say, okay, we'll regroup.
7th touchdown pass of the year for Bo Levi Mitchell. It's the difference at the half here. And they're going to have to do it one more time here to run out the clock in the first half. Well, lots for the guys to talk about at halftime. And the decision-making in the final minute will likely be a topic as we head back to the studio. Here's Rod Smith and our coach, Paul LaPolice.
With Chris Schultz.
Hey, Rod, going into this game, Calgary had zero points off of turnovers. Tonight they got 20. That's why they're in the game.
Let's go to Darcy Seaton now with Calgary head coach John Hufnagel.
Coach, a close half, that first half. Give us your assessment of that first half. That was a big touchdown at the end there.
Yeah, it was that last play was huge for us. Our punt return team did a good job of stopping them, just barely stopping them. It was a tough physical first half. We have to regroup and try to get some more points on the board.
How big of a blow is it to lose Matt Walter knowing the Cornish is out?
Obviously it's something that is bothering us, but Jock is doing a good job. We just have to get him some time off on the return game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Well, this first edition of the Battle of Alberta has not been perfect, but it's been memorable so far. Speaking.
Headed to the third quarter here at Commonwealth Stadium, a 7-point Calgary lead. Darcy Seaton standing by with Chris Jones.
Coach, a tough way to finish the first half, but overall, were you pleased with how things went?
Well, I mean, when you're behind, you can't be pleased. I mean, we made too many mistakes. Again, we got to clean that up and come back out in the second half and grind all second half.
How about the pressure on their quarterback? Do you like what you see so far?
Well, we ain't got him on the ground, so I'd like to see him on the ground.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Calgary offense, 100 yards net yardage in the opening half, and yet they do have a 7-point lead and twice the number of points they had last week in the win over Hamilton.
Scored on the special teams. That's where they won the battle in the first half, and what Chris Jones just said about they come out in this second half and we got to grind. Get that guy on the ground is the first priority for Chris Jones and his defense.
Greg Dickinson, special teams coach. It's going to be a long night unless the Eskimos can battle back. as far as the special team for Edmonton are concerned. Block punt for a touchdown. That third down gamble that goes awry, but they get the ball first in the second half. Miles trying to provide better field position, and away he goes, but a flag late, and away from the return down that sideline in front of the Calgary bench.
The corner on the return, he's not going to bounds in the Stampeders bench. There's a flag against the Eskimos.
And it is going against Edmonton.
On the return, holding Edmonton, number 27. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Mike DeBison, the rookie out of the University of Windsor.
Now DeBison, big error, and Craig Dickinson meets him halfway out on the field to explain the error he just committed, because he's trying to tell him, you just don't grab the jersey, because that's a big return and some momentum quickly out of the gate here for Edmonton that was just taken away.
Cost him about 20 yards of real estate. Riley pulls it down. He'll take off and hit the deck up at the 38-yard line. Give Mike Riley 4. Not been a running threat tonight like he was a week ago in Winnipeg. 7 yards on the ground for Riley tonight. Coming in, his totals would project to 895 yards on the year for a guy that was not expected to run as much in 2014.
Differently, though. Running differently.
Yep. Three-man front. Now they send a fourth, 2nd and 6, and pressure on. The shovel pass is incomplete. Intended for John White with the heat done. Mike Riley, it's a 2-and-out to start the second half.
You know, at the end of that first half, both quarterbacks were starting to get a little reckless with the football. And, you know, I know that Mike Riley is trying to create something here out of nothing, but that was another dangerous play. That just tips around and gets in the hands of the Stampeders, and they build off the momentum that they gained at the very end of the first half. Well, Levi Mitchell took a couple chances, too.
Grant Shaw's had a tough night punting the football. This gets a decent hop. Sanders at his 24. And he'll be brought down. There's Grimes again on the scene.
Let's take you back to the end of the first half and just the sequence of events that gave Calgary the lead here. This is a shot by Mike Riley. You mentioned that, Chris. Stop the clock, then they try the fake. Now, with all due respect to my colleague back in control, Jock Hyman, who said that the 80% success rate on a fake 10 yards deep in your end zone. I respectfully disagree with those numbers. It was a huge gamble. It didn't work out, and Calgary scores the major on the very next play. 80%.
First possession, second half, Calgary, and there's Sanders, who was the leading rusher in the game, 50 yards in the first half. And we might not have done a good job at clarifying the wind, but the wind was at the back of the Eskimos.
Yes.
They were not going to punt into the wind. They would have been able to sail a punt around midfield.
Now, can Bo, Levi, and Mitchell get this passing game going? They started to establish a little run with Jock Sanders at the end of the first half there. But their passing game, other than the one touchdown throw, has been pretty quiet.
Second down, here comes the heat. Rennie Curran on the blitz, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Anthony Parker, and there's Aaron Grimes, who's been all over the field tonight.
Yeah, he's been active. Very active, and that tells you that Calgary's working that wide side. Aaron Grimes will usually line up there. Again, pressure on Mitchell up the middle. This front four, 18 sacks on the season. Not all from the front four, but they've been dominant for Edmonton. The reasons they're 4-0.
Fifth 2-and-out on the night for Calgary. Neighbors had a good night. And another decent boot. Miles from his 34. And contained inside the 40-yard line. Just shy of the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. Mike Riley down by a touchdown. Will try and orchestrate an Eskimo comeback in the second half. CFL Fantasies, now a reality. Go to tsn.ca/CFL Fantasy. Set your roster for a chance to win a trip to the 102nd Grey Cup and a Joseph Abood suit from Moores. Every pick counts. Make yours today. A couple of 2-and-outs to start this second half. Edmonton starts at their own 40. And off inside. Good gain. John White dropped the ball and gets back on it. First down, Edmonton.
Lin Shell put his hat right on the ball. But John White recovers. He turns quickly and gets back to it. Again, this is another indication of just how physical games are between these two teams. And Lin Shell knocked it out of there.
A couple of former BC Lions around the football. Shell and Josh Bell. But a first down, Edmonton at the 51. Fake to White. Shamon Chambers incomplete. And there's Josh Bell defensively.
Yeah, the secondary for the Calgary Stampeders back intact. Remember, at the end of the first half, Brandon Smith went out due to injury. They brought in Adam Berger, played him at safety, moved Josh Bell to halfback. Bell is back at safety now. Smith back at that short side halfback, and Fred Bennett into the short side, into the boundary there on the corner. So they're back to their starting secondary.
Secondary that had to be changed during the offseason. Pressure on, and they get to Mike Riley and wrestle him down. Charleston Hughes is in the area, and so is Sean Lemon. So the defensive ends meet at the quarterback and bring Mike Riley down.
Sean Lemon, Charleston Hughes, two bookends. Three-man pressure. Calgary Stampeders dropped into a zone defense with three deep, and the guy that Riley wanted was the dig route, the over-the-middle route, and didn't have time to get it there.
Marquay McDaniel back. Takes the punt at the 18. He'll get wrapped up around the 22-yard line. Can Bo Levi Mitchell get it going offensively? It's been a tough night against a stingy Edmonton defense, and yet he's capitalized when he's had chances and has the lead. John Hufnagel mentioned keys to the game: protect the football, protect the quarterback, and they have done both tonight. No sacks on Bo Levi Mitchell, although we have seen Edmonton pressure and a number of hurries. But they've done a better job of protecting the quarterback and the football.
Well, and that's what they did in that low-scoring win against Hamilton. They looked real good offensively, but didn't turn it over.
Starting at their 22, there's Sanders taking that swing pass. Aaron Grimes with first contact. Rennie Curran is there, 8 yards for Sanders.
That offensive line for Calgary starting to bounce back. We saw a couple of series in the first half where Edmonton's front four was dominant again, but these guys are settling in up front for the Stampeders, led by Brett Jones at center.
Second and 2. Inside Sanders. Not a lot there, but extra effort to fall forward close to the first down.
Here, Lavertu getting a chance to play.
And then he falls over the 30
in this second half.
A couple of rookies right there, Craig Head and Lavertu. Rookie of the year last year, Brett Jones.
Yeah, we'll check the sideline. Brett Jones not playing in this series. He's been going head-to-head with Armando Sewell all night, so you wouldn't blame him for just getting a series off. You have to handle that load.
Three-time Vanier Cup winner, three-time All-CIS. Lavertu, the #1 pick, and the latest in a long series of offensive line selections by Calgary that really has built the foundation of this team. 3rd and inches. They lost Jamichael Dean. They traded John Gott from their starters last year. Dimitri Sumpas retired because of concussion problems. They keep clicking, and here's Drew Tate, 3rd and inches, and that offensive line pushes forward for a first down.
Number 2 up there. Brandon Craighead was 4 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Ball popped loose. All the Edmonton Eskimos signaling that they've got the football. Let's see when they unpile. Looked like they got a decent surge, but the Eskimos are like Drew Tate had it easily, but Odell Willis begs to differ. Wow, it is closer.
Didn't get it.
Wow, did not get it.
I wonder if Drew Tate, you mentioned, looked like he was scrambling for the football, and if he lost the handle and had to try and recover it, then the spot may have changed. No, he's down by contact with the ball under his arm, so he didn't fumble it at the bottom of that pile.
Boy, it looked like he got a decent surge. It was 3rd and inches. They didn't have to get very far. Both the Foster, Rennie Curran, and a big turnover on downs. See what the Eskimos can do with it. Open man. Shamon Chambers, touchdown. And just like that, game tied, first touchdown of the year for Chambers.
Hufnagel immediately tries to rally his bench. The sudden change, Mike Riley makes a pay. Didn't get the inches they needed on the 3rd down gamble, and Riley, who has been in sync with Shamon Chambers tonight, will double move behind Fred Bennett.
4th catch of the game for Chambers. Points off turnovers, the story of the night. And the Battle of Alberta is tied again. Mike Riley with his 9th touchdown pass of the season.
Chambers on that double move. Here he is here. He's going to run the slant and then go. Watch the mistake that Fred Bennett makes when he looks back in the backfield. He's looking at Mike Riley. Hold it there. Where is he looking? He's looking at Riley, not at his man, who is Shamon Chambers. It's a small thing, but it turns into a touchdown because now he is beaten on the double move. Shamon Chambers just has to make this catch, and believe me, it's a harder catch than it looks because you got a lot of time to think about it. That wide open.
What's up, everybody back home in the 6? You already know Mom, Leah, everybody back home. What's up, Sax? You already know what it is. GTA in the building.
32-yard touchdown for Chambers, first of the year. Game tied at 20 apiece. And the cover team for the Eskimos does the job preventing the return to the 25.
Well, Calgary fans were still talking about that 3rd down gamble by Drew Tate, and I'm sure they felt that he got there. It was a spot that favored Edmonton. Obviously, they turned it into the quick touchdown. Immediately after that play, John Hufnagel turned to the bench and he started to rally the troops because he knew this could be one of those emotional letdowns, one of those blows. He's not going to challenge it. There's no way he's going to win that challenge, so they have to try and rebound.
Quite the noise. Looked like Stanley Bryant, the big left tackle, came out of his stance early as he was trying to get a quick step on the pole.
Procedure. Calgary number 66. 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
Senior offensive lineman, their top offensive lineman last year, out of East Carolina, and Goldsboro, North Carolina, just happens to be the hometown of a legendary Eskimo, Dan Kepling. He did his bit for the Battle of Alberta. First and 15. Mitchell scrambling, rolling, Odell Willis chasing, and he'll run out of bounds. Dion Lacey helping influence that decision. Gets 7, sets up 2nd and 8.
Odell Willis has a nice spin move on Dan Fader, Kyle, and then they battle. It's Odell Willis that's going to end up chasing him down here, chasing Bo Levi Mitchell, but Fader, Kyle hangs in there. It's a good spin move inside. Then he cuts him off, and then they keep working, and then the pursuit is on, and eventually Odell Willis will run him out.
2nd and 8. Mitchell bouncing around in the pocket over the middle, and he one-hops that. Fuller well covered on the play, the intended target.
Tons and tons of time for Bo Levi Mitchell and no open receivers. Let's take a look at the coverage for the Edmonton Eskimos. Go ahead and run it, guys. Let's see what they do now. Looks like they're going to drop back into a zone defense here. Stop it there. You got 3 deep zone. And it turns into man as the play continues to go on. So you got coverage here, you got coverage over the top, some guys underneath in the drops. No place to put that football.
And a defender in the hip pocket of Fuller. The Maver punt. Miles, 33. And Keenan McDougall, first contact again downfield with the flag on the play. Keenan McDougall with almost a special team season in the first half as the rain that was in the forecast for this evening starts to fall.
On the return, illegal block, Edmonton number 77. 10-yard penalty, first down Edmonton.
Penalty on Matthew Boulay.
Keenan McDougall, I know this is the first game of the week. He's my front runner for special teams player of the week, I'll tell you that. There's got to be a returner that has a monster game as this week continues, because he has been all over the place. Big plays and scoring.
At the 24, faked by Riley. He'll step up. Going to find some blocking. And up over the 25. Asked Chris Jones if he was concerned about the amount Mike Riley has run, but he cited guys like Darian Durant and Travis Lulay, and he feels the risk reward is to their advantage if they turn Riley loose.
Man, and I asked Riley about it. I said, 92 yards last week. I thought you told us at the beginning of the year you wanted to run less. And he said, well, yeah, but I'm running differently now. He said, last year I was running because there were breakdowns. I didn't make the read quick enough. He always puts it on himself first. That's the type of leader he is. Then he moved to, but it could have been broken assignments up front. Maybe a back missed a block. I was running out of necessity because I was running for my life. He said, this year, I'm running to break down the defense, and there's a difference.
And here's more from the coach on his running quarterback.
He needs to learn where his check downs are a little better. I mean, and he'll tell you, the thing is when the protection breaks down or when he gets a little bit confused, he is confident enough to take off with the football. Certainly, we want to make sure as a staff that he gets down and protects himself as well.
Well, last year, over 700 rushing yards. Mentioned that he was on pace for almost 900 very early this season. Sean Lemon shaken up on the last play, and that's why we've got a bit of a delay as he makes his way to the sidelines. Riley ran for 3 on that last play, setting up 2nd and 7 in the rain here at Commonwealth.
He's sort of walking, could be cramp issues.
Lemon taking over for Cordero Law, headed to the NFL after a strong season last year at defensive end for the Stamps. 2nd and 7, pressure on, and they get to the quarterback. And Mike Riley sacked. Freddie Bishop came in to replace Lemon, and he gets home. And that's the 2nd sack of the game for the Stampeders.
Well, then Jay Shell comes on the blitz. Now he doesn't get there. It's Bishop that gets there, but he's gonna start the pressure from that side, and he's the guy who flashes and tries to make the move on the back John White. Now you're gonna have Mike Riley step up into that, and he runs into a couple of defenders.
Shaw, good boot. And it's Sanders inside his 40. And neatly ahead to the 45-yard line. Calgary football, just under 6 minutes left. Third quarter. 20-20 the score.
Pierre Lavertue has been playing for Brett Jones at center for Calgary. Brett Jones is going head-to-head with Armando Sewell. This was the first series of this second half, and watch how Jones starts to limp after this play. He holds Sewell off, and we haven't seen him return to the lineup. So the Rookie of the Year in 2013 has not gone back.
So a young offensive line gets even younger.
But a great offensive line. And those two drafted the same year. Last year, Brett Jones and Brander Craighead. And the #1 pick this year is now playing center in the Battle of Alberta.
Every year, that Stampeder draft, pretty impressive, year after year. Mitchell over the middle, and Cote, hello, bounced by Eric Samuels.
Vanderbilt. Eric Samuels stepping up. Played for those Commodores. He was a safety and loved to bring it.
Versatile guy last year in the Battle of Alberta. He was at safety, has played corner. Now the strong side linebacker replacing TJ Hill now in Ottawa. 3 for Cote, 2nd and 7. Mitchell to the sidelines. He's got Fuller. Nice catch. Both the Foster.
Bo Levi Mitchell throws Fuller back. That's a corner route. But Mitchell sees the coverage over top, and he knows if he puts this up into the basket like you see normally on a corner throw, then it's picked off there by Foster. But he throws it back to pull Fuller back towards the line of scrimmage and to the sideline. That's a perfect throw.
17-yard gain. First down in Edmonton territory. Here comes the sweep. Anthony Parker with it. And dropped at the 41.
Now with the rain, the score locked to 20s. Ball security becomes that much more important. And just taking that extra second to make sure you secured the football. Anthony Parker with the big game against Toronto. 4 for 101 yards in that one. Been quiet tonight, but there was a nice run.
Didn't have a catch last week. So 2nd and 7. Mitchell, open man. He's got Sinopoli, the only Calgary receiver with more than 1 catch in the first half. And he's got another Stampeder first down.
Another great draft pick back in 2011 for John Hufnagel, who saw something more in Brad Sinopoli than a quarterback. He's a great quarterback at Ottawa, but came in the first couple of years, was a 3rd stringer for the Stampeders at the quarterback position, and Hufnagel moves him to receiver.
And his first CFL touchdown is one that we will remember. What a run that was last week. They've got it moving now. The hitch to Fuller. Dexter McCoyle got him around the ankles. He falls forward down to the 20.
You mentioned the draft and how well this Calgary Stampeder football team is drafted, and John Hufnagel. Go back to 2011. Anthony Parker Jr. Turner is on the roster. Brad Sinopoli just gets better all the time, and Matt Walter, who they're going to have to lean on over the next 6 weeks. We hope that he'll be okay. He left early in the first half. John Cornish on the 6-game injury. They're going to have to lean on Matt Walter.
They have 6 rounds. They get 3 or 4 players every year. Sanders on 2nd and 2. McDaniel eyeing the sticks to see if he's got enough.
Well, let's see if he got enough, because if it's 3rd down, these 3rd down plays have been interesting tonight.
And he does have a first down.
First. Well, let's take a look at Brad Sinopoli's first touchdown.
Had an option to throw there. Once he pulled it down, it was a touchdown.
Nice Nice looking move. Celebrated a little early, but you can. That's okay on your first one.
7th play of the drive. It's a first down inside the 20. Mitchell looking for Fuller once again. Incomplete. Push off for some separation for Jeff Fuller.
You know, he had to go with the one hand because of the coverage, and I'm just watching a Bo Levi Mitchell that as this third quarter's gone on, he's just dialing in. I mean, this throw, working on Pat Watkins, trying to get that in the perfect spot. I mean, he put it right out there. Gave Fuller a shot at it.
It's a great matchup, 6'4" receiver against the 6'5" corner, all CFL. 2nd and 10. And do they get the play off? Ball's loose, but I think it's going to be a time count violation.
Time count violation. Calgary number 19. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Remember, Brett Jones. Look at the injury.
Based on the snap, that might be the rare occasion when the time count was a better option.
Well, it was, and it wasn't a terrible snap by Lambert, too. Just maybe a little bit of heat on it.
Football a little slicker now. 2nd and 15. Stands in, looks for McDaniel, and it's incomplete off the hands of an Eskimo defender, nearly picked off by Dexter McCoyle, who has a couple on the year.
I'll tell you what, Pierre Lavertue watched him on that play, and he did his job. He gave Bo Levi Mitchell a chance. Now, gets a little help from Spencer Wilson, but he just pancaked the guy we showed on the bull rush early on in Armando Sewell, who's been a monster.
Paredes from 29 yards out for the lead, and he's got it. Rene Paredes kicking the Stampeders into the lead here in the late stages of the third quarter.
Well, now it comes down to ball security, and both these teams want to be careful that they're not the team that takes the bad penalty. We've seen penalties up, and both coaches were talking about this yesterday, wanting to sort through these penalties and figure out exactly how they can coach their players.
And Chris Jones has taken it to a different level.
I used to coach high school basketball, and you have to see how the officials are calling a game, whether they're going to call it tight or they're going to be a loose game. So certainly we as football players, football coaches have to see how the league is calling the game this year, and it's tight on the quarterbacks. We've got a small target area, and we've got to make sure that we play to those rules.
So he has actually told us yesterday, has scouted all the different officiating staffs in the league. Mentioned tonight the Kim Murphy crew especially calls it tight defensively.
Well, in these tight games, this is where it matters most. I mean, a late hit on the quarterback or a questionable hit on the quarterback could be the difference, and those hits are up by over 100% this year, so they're protecting the quarterbacks as they should. But I love what Chris Jones said. He said it's on us. It's on the coaches. It's on the players to understand how they're calling it and coach the guys up properly.
At 15 penalties in the game tonight. Looks like Simpson might be offside. Free play. Peyton's got it. First down, Edmonton. Up at the 53-yard line, pending the flag. Which would be the 16th penalty. The Eskimos, by the way, 7 unnecessary roughing calls.
Offside, Calgary, number 12. The penalty is declined. First down, Edmonton.
Was Simpson offside? They had 3 roughing the passer calls. They did not have a pass interference call in the opening 4 games of the season. Chains move to the 52-yard line. Edmonton first down. Handoff, John White to midfield. Tripped up there by Teron Mayo, back in the lineup after missing last week. Mayo out with a hamstring. And zeros on the clock. Are we going to get one more play in before the third quarter ends? So one more play, 2nd and 7. Fred Stamps checks back in as Calvin McCarty heads to the sidelines. Guyton in motion. Hand off. White spun and he's knocked down right away. Nothing doing. Micah Johnson.
John White takes the handoff and he's taken down the Eskimo back.
Loss of 4 on the final play of the third quarter. Heading to the fourth. And it's the visiting Calgary Stampeders up by 3.
Edmonton Eskimos had the best giveaway takeaway coming into this game, and that has switched on them in this one. They've given up those 20 points off turnovers. That's been the difference in the scoreboard, but it's a close game, man. We've seen some great battles in the trenches. Armando Sewell, Brett Jones, Laver 2. I mean, this is the Battle of Alberta. Good physical game, nice and close going into the fourth.
So those numbers aren't that high. That number is. That's the 50-50 prize tonight. Prize winner from the last home game didn't claim the prize.
Hang on a second.
So, you've got 10 numbers there.
I don't know. We're allowed to win, aren't we?
Check mine too. But a lot of people are anticipating that tonight. So it could be a big night for some Edmonton fan, even if the team doesn't come back in the fourth quarter. Football bouncing into the end zone. Looked like Dion Lacey was trying to keep it out of there. Shades of the U.S. game.
Well, let's see this again. This usually happens in the preseason. Trying to down the ball before it went into the end zone.
Leslie's thinking, if I keep it out, I'll take the no yards and avoid the single to keep them as far back as possible. But I'm giving them probably more credit than
you've given a couple of guys an alibi tonight. It's okay. Makes it easier to interview them the next day.
He's pleading his case. He's getting some heat, but he's trying to talk his way out of it.
In fairness to a lot of these guys, especially early in the season, that you've been trained one way your whole life, and it just clicks in when you're running down the field sometimes. But
yep, Greg Dickinson will have a little extra session with Dion Lacey next week. Like to say
no yards. Edmonton number 40. 15-yard penalty applied from the 10-yard line. First down.
I'd like to say hello to our U.S.-based fans watching on ESPN2 tonight who are wondering what that was all about.
Got to give 5 yards.
All right, your defense is on the field.
The ball goes in the end zone. Well, Bo Levi Mitchell has looked like he's locked in. His accuracy, even though it started raining in the second half, has improved from the first half.
Sanders, not much up the middle.
Number 2, Josh Sanders, the ball carrier, 45 Texas.
I guess when you look at it again, excuse me, Suits, the point might have been useful in a 3-point game. I mean, they're talking field position. You try and pin, but if the pin doesn't work in a 3-point game, a 2-point disadvantage sets up a field goal to take the lead. So I'm not going to get him off the hook. Big defensive play here for Edmonton. Levi Mitchell going to air it out. A battle here, and it's incomplete. Burnett stuck with Simon Charbonneau-Campo. Let's check the flag.
Well, I saw a little bit of jersey separate from the body of Campo to suggest that this may be called on Joe Burnett.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Edmonton number 38. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That wasn't different part of the field against Eric Samuels.
Yeah, that wasn't right on where the ball was thrown. That's illegal contact before the ball was thrown.
Markway McDaniel. It's a first down. 38-yard line over the middle and incomplete, and another flag, and this will also go against Samuels over the back of the intended target.
Just mentioned in a close game into the fourth quarter, and now you're in the rain, ball security for the rain, but eliminating these penalties.
Edmonton, number 38, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That one on Samuels, nowhere near as close as the first. The first one was pass interference. That one was a close call, but either way, got to eliminate them.
Back-to-back penalties against 38. Up to the 47-yard line, into the hands of Sanders, and burst to the 53. About 5 for Jock Sanders, 65 rushing yards on the night. For the man replacing Matt Walter, who started the game replacing the injured John Cornish. And if you joined us late, Walter out with a head injury early in this game. As the rain intensifies here at Commonwealth. Again, Sanders. And he'll be stopped up short of the first down.
Boy, they believe in those guys up front, though. That was a long 4, and Dave Dickinson calls a run play.
And here comes Drew Tate to the short yardage group.
And this has been an adventure tonight. Third down. Do we see something?
Looks like almost a full yard. They missed on 3rd and inches in the third quarter.
But do we see something? Maybe a play. Maybe they throw it out of this formation.
Shot through before the ball was snapped.
Well, when they emptied it out like that, it's going to be the quarterback sneak. Mondo Sewell was going on 1 no matter what. And Drew Tate went on 2.
Offside, Edmonton, number 90. 5-yard penalty, first down Calgary.
He just predetermined that I'm going on downset hut. If he does another hut, it doesn't matter to me.
10 first down of the game for Calgary. 4 have come by penalty. 3 on this drive. At the Eskimo 49-yard line. On time. Nobody open. Now time running out, and so is Levi Mitchell. With a flag down, he is dropped at the 44-yard line.
Peter Kyle put his hands up in a bit of frustration, and boy, when plays extend this long, it's almost too much to ask your offensive line to maintain their blocks.
Holding, Calgary number 65. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
He just grabs hands outside the shoulder pads and then grabs the jersey as well. When Lacey tries to pull away, he can't.
So 1st and 20 back on the Stamp side of half. Calgary 51-yard line. Here comes pressure. He gets it away. Markway McDaniel the catch. Sliced down by Grimes at the 50-yard line of Edmonton. McDaniel coming off his first 1,000-yard season last year.
Well, this is a good play to get halfway there. There's one guy that we have not talked about all game long, but who's been back in the lineup and been quiet, and it looks like he's laboring a little bit trying to get open, is Nick Lewis.
And a streak of 166 consecutive games for the catch on the line here in this fourth quarter. Second down. Bo Levi Mitchell looking for Fuller. Jump ball. He got it. He wins the jump ball over Joe Burnett.
Come on, that's what he didn't. He stole that. He ripped down a rebound is what he did. Oh, my. Highlight of the night.
And that's the matchup problems he can provide. Getting attention on the sidelines after the catch. It's a 26-yard gain, and the Stampeders are in business at the Edmonton 23. First down, fake to Sanders. Mitchell under pressure, and he's going to throw this one up. Jump ball again. And Aaron Grimes got a hand on it, nearly pulled it down.
He tried to throw that away. Bo Levi Mitchell has thrown that out of bounds, and he just didn't get enough on it. Put too much air into this throw, and it was almost intercepted by Grimes right on the sideline. He was just trying to throw it away. Coverage was too tight downfield. Nick Lewis realized, wait a minute, this is 65-yard wide field. It's not going to get there. Got a feeling 36 isn't done yet tonight.
Edmonton, 2nd and 10. In the pocket, and that pass dropped by Fuller through the hands. That time the pigskin too slippery to handle. And the drive stalls, but the Fuller catch got them into field goal range.
Wow, that was special, man. That was some kind of catch. I didn't think that ball had a chance. Looked like it slipped out of the hands of Mitchell, and a little bit of a duck quacking through this rain, and then Fuller just rips it out of the sky.
So Paredes, who was a surprising 62.5% coming into the game, has dialed back in. This from 30 yards out. He's 4 for 4. And it's a 6-point Calgary lead. Just under 9 minutes left. Calgary expands it thanks in part to this beauty from Jeff Fuller. First game, week 5. Under 9 minutes left. Mike Riley's Eskimos trail by 6. Starting at the 35, look for Chambers, not available. Fred Stamps, short gain, first catch for number 2 on the night. So no catches for Nick Lewis. 1 catch so far for Fred Stamps.
Well, even Darius Bowman, who's been their leading receiver after 4 games, been quiet tonight. So Shamad Chambers has stepped up. It's been a quiet 5 catches for Bowman. Stamps had 1 called back.
5 for Stamps, 2nd and 5. And somebody jumped the gun. Charleston Hughes, and Matt O'Donnell gets into his ear.
Like they were running a stunt there, and Charleston Hughes wanted to come from the outside spot and wrap around, get an inside pass rush.
Calgary number 39. 5-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
Last year, 19 sacks for Calgary in the season series, 7 for Hughes.
He was just moving around in that linebacker spot, kind of trying to hide there so he could get a B-gap rush between guard and tackle. Shot the gun a little too fast there.
Gave the Eskimos a first down. Here's Riley. Pressure from Hughes. Riley trying to outrun him, and away he goes for a first down. For Mike Riley.
Riley wanted to go deep to Darius Bowman. Here is in the slot, but he's well covered. To take a look here by Brandon Smith, who was injured early in the first half. Smith stays in his hip pocket. Riley bails on that. Now he's got to scramble and run. He takes off outside, and in chase, Charleston Hughes trying to get out and around the corner, and he'll just track him down, but not until Riley has the first down.
4th carry, 21 yards for Riley. And a first down to the Stamps 54. Gonna take a shot. Watch Chambers, and just out of his reach, and it looked like he may have slowed up.
Yeah, he did. it was almost as if he thought Riley was going to throw him into the middle and almost turn it into a post seam route. Instead, he threw it, which was the route called, which is a straight go. And there was a little bit of a shift down there by Shamad Chambers, and then when he realized it was out over the top, he tried to get there, and he was that close.
Working against the newcomer on the corner, Brandon McDonald. Second and 10. On the draw play, John White cuts it back. And White stopped up when it looked like he might have room.
That first move, well, he gave him that stiff leg. This is planted, redirected.
3rd and 2, maybe 2.5, and after a slight delay.
No, you got to put this in the corner. Now, this is the coach that, before the end of the half, tried to fake a punt 10 yards deep in his own end zone.
And we have seen them out of punt formation with Pat White, who's one of the personal protectors, number 5. It is a place on the field that you might try it, but they're not going to on this one. They want Shaw to get it into the corner. McDaniel fields at the 14, and they get the 15-yard, no yards. And the fans voice their displeasure. Not a deep punt. And McDaniel, who was shaken up, able to burn the Eskimos for the no yards.
You know, not real deep punt, but not terrible either. I mean, you know, Shaw's had some issues with his corner kick. Some that have gone into the end zone, given up a single that they didn't want to do at the time in games previous to tonight, and then some that went out too early before the 20, which is a penalty. So that one wasn't terrible. It just, the no yards call is going to eat up a ton of this yardage.
You're right, 36 yards.
No yards. Edmonton, number 39. Holding Calgary.
Okay, well, one against Calgary.
First down.
So the ball will be on the 20. Chris Jones' team down by 6. 6.5 minutes to go in the first installment of the Battle of Alberta. An update on conditions from Darcy Seaton.
That's right, guys. It's not coming down as hard as it was just a couple of minutes ago, but I took my hand just to sweep this turf, and it is considerably slippier. Interesting enough, there's no wind out here, and this rain is coming straight down, so it could make for an interesting finish, guys.
The wind has subsided. It, earlier in the night, would have been an advantage to the Stampeders in the fourth quarter. They start at the 20. Something. Dexter McCoyle with the Chris Rapacumba with the tackle, the safety, but it's a pickup of 9 for Sanders.
It's a drive started in a real positive way. Drew Tate will come in on this second down and 1.5 yards. But most important, number one priority for Calgary right now with the lead is to get the football out of their end of the field. Swap field position here at the very least. Maybe come away with 3 and make it a 9-point game.
Second short, Tate. Straight ahead. They haven't been automatic tonight.
Well, it's not automatic because of the defensive line for the Edmonton Eskimos. I mean, you talk about Eddie Steele, Armando Sewell in there, and throw in Willie Jefferson, Odell Wilson are pitching down. Cameron Sheffield's getting in there on short yardage, so that's a wall to move in there.
Levi Mitchell at 50% on the night. 13 of 26, 118 is all he's been able to generate against the Edmonton defense. We got a flag that
remember,
have too many men in the
illegal
huddle.
Substitution. 13 men in the huddle. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Oh, that's 15 penalties for John Hufnagel's crew on the night.
Coach Hufnagel does not like that one at all. Look at this huddle.
All right, your 12 men on your Eskimo defense. They want to hear you now, man. They love hearing you make some noise. Let's do it.
13 there. Nick Lewis watching from the sidelines. First and 20.
Calgary just saw what they're coming with. Coming with blitz.
Dropped the football. He had one for a touchdown last week. This more shades of the 2011 Grey Cup when he dropped what looked like a sure.
That was an interesting sequence because Bo Levi Mitchell had that restart where he calls the signals, has the receivers come to the line so he can declare the defense, see what's coming up. And then the defense changed. I think it was Eric Samuels who changed it to the right. He calls the defense dropping Odell Willis out of there instead of having him come on the blitz. And Willis ends up right in the throwing line.
Deja vu there. The pressure goes down quickly. Pat Watkins on the scene. And the Edmonton defense with a big stop here with just over 4 minutes to go.
Oh, but a too many man penalty for Calgary. Again, those penalties. Close game in the fourth quarter. Will that come back to haunt them? I mean, that was a drive that started out with a beautiful run by Jock Sanders that got him in a short yardage situation. They go into that short yardage, get the too many men, and all of a sudden they're in a huge hole and now have to punt a couple plays later.
Rob Baber's boot. This is Miles on the return. Dropped at the 47-yard line. Yannick Carter in on the tackle. Odell Willis, first career interception for a touchdown last week. Thought he might have had another year. RBC Canadian Open continues tomorrow, second round, and TSN, your home for all the action. Live coverage from Royal Montreal. Tees off 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on TSN. Also watch live wherever you are, tsn.ca, TSN Go.
Hunter was jamming there.
Edmonton has lost 8 consecutive games against Calgary, 7 in a row at home. Need a touchdown for the lead here, and a wet football fall short of the intended target. Devin Bailey
just lost the handle. Mike Riley just slick football. Or even affecting that throw, it just fell out of his hands, was about 3 yards short.
Mike Riley's numbers on the night: 192 yards passing last week, but that was augmented by 192 yards rushing. Second and 10. 3-man rush. And they put on pressure. That's Sean Lemon in pursuit. Riley throwing downfield. Jump and incomplete. 2 and out. The Calgary defense does its job.
Okay, and now both quarterbacks breathe a sigh of relief. Bo Levi Mitchell threw one right to Odell Willis and got away with it because he dropped it. And now this one, Mike Riley, being chased by Lemon and throws it up for grabs. Couple of Calgary Stampeders have a shot at it. Fred Bennett had the best chance and threw his hands.
Would have been number 2 for Bennett on the night. Shaw's punt. Bouncing down to the 20. McDaniel with it. He'll step out around the 25. We've hit the 3-minute warning. Bo Levi Mitchell trying to win his 7th consecutive game to start his career. Bo Levi Mitchell's mentor, Jeff Garcia, holds the record for most wins to start a CFL career. He went 7-0 out of the gate. Win number 2 actually was a 6-touchdown performance on Labor Day against Edmonton in '95.
How about that throw to Terry Vaughn?
Former Eskimo, and now Bo Levi Mitchell tries to match it. 256 away from his 7th consecutive win to start his career.
Well, he's got the game in his hands right now.
Jim Van Pelt of Winnipeg in '58 won the 6th straight. Darian Durant, 6th straight to start his great career in Saskatchewan. Hasn't been vintage Bo Levi. shot tonight. Sanders off the left side.
But it hasn't been an offensive shootout by any stretch of the imagination. But, man, has it been an interesting game in a lot of ways. A lot of interesting calls by the coaching staffs, quarterbacks at times moving the football, and at times the defense is winning the battles. We've seen some great physical play here tonight. Really has lived up to its billing. Now, Bo Levi has it in his hands. He can drive the clock, drive the field, work the clock, take the game.
Big play here, 2nd and 7. And they keep their hands on the football. 3-man rush. Here's the throw. Grimes drops an interception. Oh, he read the mail, and he was thinking about a pick 6.
And I think by that reaction, Mitchell thought that his receiver was going to curl out. He curled in, and he threw it to the outside. It was Brad Sinopoli, because right after the throw, he indicated by his body language that he thought he was going to curl that one outwards to the sideline.
Another bullet. Flags fly.
He's had a game tonight.
Has he ever? And while they sort out the penalty, a reminder the gamble at the end of the first half continues to loom large.
Well, Chris Jones on a 3rd down with his punter, Grant Shaw, standing 10 yards deep in the end zone, ran the fake to Aaron Grimes. Didn't get there by a yard.
Calgary has challenged that there was defensive pass interference on the play. We will review the play.
Interesting. This is the time to key down to use it. You're going to take this new rule and give it a shot. Now, I don't see anything wrong at that point. Again, the defensive back and the receiver can hand fight, and the defensive back can have his hand on the waist of the receiver. He cannot grab or pull the receiver or twist him. And that ball was thrown a couple yards outside of where Sinopoli curled in.
Thinking this is one that you got in your back pocket, so
you give it a shot.
Now's the time to give it a shot.
Sure, absolutely. Now, if Sinopoli gets twisted and really turned, then they might have a case, but I don't think so.
Didn't take long.
After review, there was no visual evidence that there was defensive pass interference.
No.
The ruling on the field stands. Calgary is charged with a timeout. Timer, please reset the game clock to read 2:08. 2:08 on the clock, please.
Plenty of time for Chris Jones. And that Edmonton offense, as Maver gets set to punt. Rob Maver's had a good night.
Well, and time that Mike Riley doesn't have to start slinging it, no matter where he picks up the ball, wherever Miles finishes off this return. And the Calgary cover teams have been excellent tonight. But Riley can stick at 2:08 or just inside of 2 minutes with his offense. Continue to involve John White.
Maver's averaged over 48 yards a punt. This one not as deep. Let's see what kind of bounce. One hopper to Miles. And he gets jolted out at the 44-yard line. Jamar Wall was a wall.
Oh. Bring on Labor Day. 2 more minutes here and then bring on Labor Day. These two teams. Miles says, I'll take you on. Pop! And down he goes. That was a wall.
So they are at the 43, and that's bad news for the Stampeders. Another offensive lineman down. That's Brandon Craighead, the rookie left guard, being carted to the dressing room. Riley to work. Looking for Chambers. Got him. And Shamad Chambers wrestled down by Fred Bennett, 5th catch of the night.
Remember that double move early where he got the touchdown on Bennett? Now he's working underneath on Bennett because he's respecting that. He's staying off him, not giving him that double move or giving him that deep ball. Creates a little more room as the game goes on when you do that once in a game.
Really seeing the maturation of a young Canadian receiver.
Absolutely. The confidence level just skyrocketed at the end of last year, the back half of last year, and then into this year. In his last 5 games, he had 27 catches over 300 yards. Shamad Chambers was picking it up at that point. He had a good offseason, worked with Riley, and he's got 5 for 68 tonight in that key touchdown.
Second and about a foot. Interesting to see Matt Nichols in the huddle.
He might not be done yet. 1:55 to go. Gets a rest here on short yardage, but...
Or did we? No, Mike Riley there. Like for a moment, Matt Nichols was going in.
You take a shot. You take a shot on second down. See if you can catch someone napping.
Certainly lining up that way. And they are going to. Don't want to get sacked, and they're going to get sacked. And there's the downside.
Oh, yeah.
Micah Johnson gets home, and the Stamp fans are celebrating.
And, you know, there will be a lot of second guessing when it comes to just the flat out call of going shotgun on second down and inches and trying to take a shot here. This one's on Riley because you can do this, make this call, and then just get rid of it. Throw it away, throw it into the dirt, whatever you got to do, but you can't take a sack.
Halfback blitz, Brandon Smith may get credit for that sack. And they elect to punt it. Go for it on 3rd and long. And now it'll be in the hands of the Edmonton defense. Only by Mitchell with 1:22 on the clock that he'd like to take off and post that 7th consecutive win. 3-0 Calgary, 4-0 Edmonton.
Let's go back to that sack by the Calgary Stampeders. Dwan Simpson gets involved. He runs a stunt with the defensive line and pressure up the middle. Riley's got to throw that one away. You know, to take a shot is not necessarily a bad thing, but the quarterback's got to get rid of it. If it's not there immediately, throw it into row 5.
Tate in the game, and Tate tagged down by Odell Willis. And now on 2nd down, is Tate going out, and Moldy by Mitchell comes back in.
Interesting play that...
Well, here you go, Coach. Do you call a pass here that might stop the clock?
You can take it down under a minute. You run the ball hard. If you pick it up, you win the game. If you don't, you punt it and make Edmonton drive the length of the field inside of a minute.
Sanders.
Yeah.
And it will be 3rd down.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you do. Dave Dickinson will now get it inside. It's at 58 seconds. The punt team on and see if Mike Riley can put together a drive here. The Eskimos have 1 timeout.
Yeah. Surprised they didn't use it here.
Exactly. Well, they have.
They have, and they just let the clock keep running.
So they did take it. It was at 58. Now they may, depending on whether or not Chris Jones was a little...
Timeout, Edmonton.
If Chris Jones was a little slow to get to it, but you had to take it there, or else Calgary can run it down 20 more seconds.
Now the question is, when did he call the timeout? Did they let 7 or 8 seconds burn off the clock before he made the decision, or will they reset?
That's what they're talking about right now. It just, whether or not Chris Jones got that message out to them in time.
Timer, reset the clock to read 5-3. 53 seconds on the game clock, please.
So Chris Jones started thinking about it and then realized that the Calgary punt team could run 20 seconds off the clock before they kicked it, 19, and then kick it away, and then it gives them.
They lost a play.
Yeah, they lost 5 seconds.
This is interesting too. They were going to run around, try and kill a little extra time.
Good idea.
And does step out now.
Good idea. It's still just a 4-point game, which means a field goal doesn't beat you. It's a good call by John Hufnagel. Take a few more seconds off the clock. Great call by Hufnagel, and now he'll get a whole bunch more field position back. Kick the ball off to Edmonton.
Well, the Eskimos
they'll take the ball.
We'll take the ball.
But they take it in their end of the field and lose a ton of field position for the 2 points that doesn't matter because Mike Riley needs a major.
44 seconds left, 75 yards away.
And you also think about that no yards call by Lacey and that single. Now Hufnagel makes a different decision likely at that time. Or does he? Play for the tie. Either way, got a ways to go. Not much time to get there.
Down to the wire. What can Mike Riley do with this last minute? Here comes pressure. Stands in. Throws. That Stamps. Incomplete. Brandon Smith was there.
Now remember, both Stamps and Bowman have to be careful here, and he was smart about this. Didn't throw his arms up in the air trying to draw a penalty flag, because that this year is a penalty against the receiver. This really didn't have much chance. Good coverage downfield by Brandon Smith.
The only exception to that rule might come into play here if the player looking for the flag gestures to the bench asking. Flag down here. So if Fred Stamps turned to the bench signaling to Chris Jones to challenge,
yeah,
that would not be deemed a penalty against.
Offside. Edmonton number 4. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
But Adarius Bowman called on the offside.
Now, if you're Mike Riley right now at 38, get this play called quickly, or the
timer, reset the clock to reach 3-9. 3-9 on the clock.
Riley wants to look intermediate here. Get the first down first. You got to believe Calgary's secondary will give him a little bit of room. Make him throw it underneath.
Now John Hufnagel's called the officials over to the far side for a clarification.
Now John Hufnagel lost his timeout, so he can't delay the game much longer, or he's going to be called on a delay a game penalty.
Second and 15. 3-man rush. Riley putting this one up far side. Stamps has got it. No, he dropped it. Fred Stamps couldn't survive contact. A missed opportunity. Would have been down around the 40-yard line. And it's a third down for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Back-to-back plays. They just try and sling it deep to Fred Stamps. Now he had a crack at it here. He just doesn't. Elbow hits the ground and pops it out. And for Eskimo fans wondering, he has to survive contact with the ground to make that a catch.
And a catch he has made a lot in his career. So down to this, 3rd and 15. And a flag down, and who jumped first? It is procedure against Edmonton.
I go back to 38 seconds and 1st and 10.
Procedure. Edmonton number 67. The penalty is declined. Calgary has chose to run the clock. Please return the clock to read 32. 32 seconds, please.
Back to 1st and 10 for Edmonton, and Riley looking deep down the field to Stamps, who was well covered. I mean, at some point you got to try and take a shot, but that 38 seconds, a handful of plays.
The Eskimos a little slow getting up to get this play off. Need 15. Looking for more than that. To the sidelines and incomplete. Out of bounds before Bowman could get his hands on it. A turnover on downs. Yet another turnover, the 5th of the game for the Eskimos. And in the end, that will cost them their first loss of the year.
Well, it was the special teams that let them down in the first half. It was Calgary winning that battle in the first half. The offense and defense were softs, and Darius Bowman ran out of room.
Attacking Brandon McDonald, the newcomer on the corner. Mike Riley and the Eskimos fall short again against the Stampeders on home turf.
Levi Mitchell will win his 7th straight.
Stampeders in victory formation will go to 4-0. The Edmonton Eskimos handed their first loss. Will be 4-1.
He can set the mark all by himself.
Game's in the books. 20 points off turnovers. And the Calgary Stampeders come into Edmonton and continue their domination of the Battle of Alberta. Eskimos go on the bye now. Next game for the Stampeders will be at home against the BC Lions. Perfect record gone for the Eskimos. Levi Mitchell's record continues to be perfect, as does the Stampeders. Hard-fought game, 26-22 the final. Stampeders win at Commonwealth. So long from Edmonton Sports Center.